everybody and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hello, welcome, come on in. My name is Millie and I'm posting every single day up to Christmas. I post affordable, cruelty-free makeup reviews. However, occasionally I do treat myself. Every now and again to an indie eyeshadow palette. There have been a few this year that I've treated myself to. From Bella Beauty Bar, and that is exactly what we are getting into today. The new eyeshadow palette from Bella Beauty Bar, the CRYSTALLIZE palette. Honestly, when I first saw this, I was like, yeah, it's pretty, but I didn't need it. And then I saw the swatches, I saw all of the close-up details. I was like, no, it's a more muted palette, which isn't generally what I go for, and it's also a little bit more cool toned, but there's something about this colour story that just drew me in. So I purchased this on Glisten Cosmetics, may I add. If you are a UK girly, you can now get Bella Beauty Bar on Glisten Cosmetics. You don't have to pay for it to be sent from across the pond. They send it right from Glisten Cosmetics. This came incredibly quickly. So this is what we're going to be getting into today. Subscribe if you want to see more cruelty-free makeup reviews, more content with this palette. I will probably be doing an eyeshadow palette bingo. I will be doing more content with this palette as well as my other indie makeup palettes, but let's get into this one. So firstly, this is what the packaging looks like. And I will try and show you it without blinding you with all of my ring lights because it is approximately 8 o'clock in the evening, but this is what the packaging looks like. So pretty. And then this is the colour story. And yes, it is more muted. It is more sort of desaturated, a little bit more grey toned than what I would usually go for. But there's just something about this colour story that really drew me in. Honestly, if I'm being honest with myself, it's the green and the purple combination, but also I do feel like most of the multichromes, most of the shimmers are more light, which is what I look for in an eyeshadow palette. So we're just going to get into it. We're going to get into some swatches. I'm going to swatch every single shade and then we're going to come up with some sort of eyeshadow look. I would love to hear if you have picked up this palette, if you're going to pick it up, if you're going to skip it, whatever thoughts you have. I would love to hear from you down below, but let's zoom in and we can get into some swatches. So I will just apologise in advance if I say any of these shade names wrong. I assume a lot of them are the name of crystals. I'm not into that sort of world and I don't know if I'm going to be saying any of these right. Please feel free to politely correct me down below if I'm saying any of these wrong. But the first shade is a beautiful ivory creamy toned white, and this one is called Carnelian. Carnelian? It looks like that. So this is what that one looks like. Just a nice light toned creamy nude shade. And then we have got Pyrite. Again, I'm so certain I'm going to be saying these wrong. Again, this one is a matte, sort of a cool tone pinky brown matte. Then we have got a shimmer, and I think that this one will be a little bit shifty. Oh, or you know what? It could be a lot shifty. This one is Moonstone. That's pretty. Okay, in the pan I was not expecting that to be that. Okay, that is like pink and blue, but also incredibly icy. Okay, so then we have another matte. This one is called Smoky Quartz. So again, it's almost like a rosy, pinky toned nude. Obviously like a little bit deeper than Pyrite, but sort of similar tone. Then we have got Sunstone, and if I just get a little bit closer, you need to see this one swatched. I know this one's going to be incredible. Oh, I'm speechless. So that's blue and orange, like a peachy orange, and a lime green. I'm gonna need that one all over my being. Thank you so much. That is incredible. Then we have got, onto the second row, we have got Rhodonite, which is the bright pink. Very, very pretty, very, very bright. A nice way to add a real pop of like pink saturated colour. That's a very, very pretty shade. Then next up we have got Rose Quartz, which actually is a very, very light pink, like a pinky sort of lilac-y shade. Yeah, I feel like you can see that if I build it up a little bit. It's a very, very fair shade, and again that one is a matte. Then we have got Malachite. I'm just guessing all of these, which is like, again, a more sort of desaturated turquoisey blue, almost like a denim-y blue, but a little bit grey toned, so sort of a little bit more desaturated. Then we have got Opalite, which I'm probably going to be living in, given that I am the newest member of the Taylor Swift Appreciation Society. Look at that shade. Now the sky is Opalite. That colour is incredible. That is, when it's not catching the light, it's like a lilac, but like a bright lilac. And then it's catching the light into almost like a lime green. The shift in that, and that's so smooth. Don't make me sing, because nobody wants that, but no, the sky's Opalite. Yes, I love that shade. Then lastly on the second row is another sort of bluey matte shade. This one is more blue compared to the previous one, Malachite, which is a little bit more greeny. This one is blue agate. Agate? Agate? And again, just a little bit more blue toned, getting away from like the slightly more greener tone and into something more blue. So that is the first and the second row. Now we'll go on to the inside of my arm for the last two rows. We have got Picture Jasper. Ooh, that is a very, very unique shade. So Picture Jasper there, that is such a unique colour to me. It's like a grey brown but with a bit of a rosy undertone, and again that's a matte, so that's a very, very useful shade to have. Honestly, I could use that as like my darkest colour, and it's not even the darkest colour that's in this palette. I really, really like the undertone of that. Then we have got Ice Quartz. That shouldn't have been so difficult to read. I can read Ice Quartz. And again, this is almost like a purpley icy shade. No shift to it, just a shimmer. We love just a shimmer. And then we have got Amazonite, which again shouldn't have been so difficult to say. I'm just being difficult. So that one is Amazonite, which almost, when it's not catching the light, it's like it hasn't got a base colour to it. When it catches the light with that beautiful blue reflect, that's very pretty. So then the last two on the third row are matte shades. So we have got Jade, which is almost like a light minty green. Yes, that is why I put this top on. It is exactly the same shade. And then we have got Tiger's Eye, which again is more of a grey tone, more mid-tone, where the first one here, Picture Jasper, is obviously more deep. This one is more of the mid-toned grey, but I mean, picture that next to the mint shade. It does look a little bit sort of peachy, like pinky brown. Like not too cool is what I'm saying, which obviously is preferable for me. So then we have got on the fourth row, we have got Hematite, which on my finger here, it looks holographic. Like it's a deep, deep dark blue, but it has got so many different colours in that. And again, just so smooth. Not necessarily shifty, but it's just got all of those glitters are every single colour. Then we have got another matte shade. This one is called Amethyst, which obviously is a light purpley shade. Very, very pretty, very pigmented. Then we have got Violet Agate. Don't laugh, I'm trying my best. And this is another very, very smooth shimmer. Not necessarily shifty, but just very, very blinding when it catches the light. And then the last two shades are Lapis Lazuli, which almost looks like what I would imagine ultraviolet to look like. It's glowing. Look at that shade. Like, I can't even move my arm enough for you to be able to see that. That is incredible. But potentially the sort of shade that is going to stain, like look at what's left on my finger there just from swatching that. Could potentially stain. And then the last shade is Obsidian, which is so dark, such a deep dark indigo sort of bluey shade. It's not a black. I can tell that it's not a black, and it's also like it's not trying to be a black. It is quite obviously not, but that is such an intense colour. So that is the full colour story. Obviously I'm going to have to use this jade shade because it matches my top, but and then probably opalite, because obviously we're going to figure something out together. But let me go clean myself up and then we can create a look. So I'm just tapping out the creases in the Beauty Bay eye primer, of course, and let's go in with a big fluffy brush. I usually try to wash my brushes before I try out a new eyeshadow palette. I haven't done that this time. Do not judge me. So I'm starting with a big fluffy brush, and I'm going to go into Pyrite, this shade here, and just put that basically all through the crease, all the way along. No, don't ask. I don't know what I'm planning on doing. I never do. But especially today, like, so many of these shimmers, I mean, and the mattes as well, but so many of the shimmers are incredible. And I've only got so much space on my eyeballs, but we're going to try as many shades as we can today. Just like that, just a nice little wash of something. This is a really nice transition tone actually, because it's just a tiny little bit deeper than my skin tone and a tiny little bit more cool toned, but nothing too crazy. So I'm going to go in with a much smaller brush, and I'm going to go into Smoky Quartz, which was this one, a little bit further along, still on the top row. And I'm going to keep that further into the crease, and also just take this sort of halfway along, keeping it tighter into the crease though to add that shape that we want. Then I'm just going to use this same brush, and I'm going to go into Picture Jasper, which is this one. So again, we're just getting a little bit deeper, a little bit more smoky, and I'm going to tap that and just keep that on the lid, right on the outer corner. Nice, I like that one. Again, it does just add a little bit more depth right out there. So then I'm just going to wipe that brush off on my blanket that I keep on my legs, and I'm going to use this same tiny brush, and I'm going to take the tiniest amount of this bright pink, which was Rhodonite, this one, and tiny, and I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that to sort of dust over the top edge, so we can add a little touch of pink. Yes, I like that, but very pigmented. You don't need very much of it. There we go. So I think I'm happy with how that is looking. Obviously they're all blending together beautifully. The Bella Beauty bar, all of the formulas, all of the formulas are fantastic. The mattes are so creamy and buttery and pigmented that they blend together beautifully. The shimmers are phenomenal. Absolutely beautiful. So now I just need to figure out what shimmer I want to use. Honestly, do I just want Opalite all over the lid? And then I feel like I probably need to add in a little bit of this jade. But I'm thinking maybe the jade sort of above the crease on the inner part of the eye. Opalite all over the lid. And then maybe this shade, this second one down, which was, sorry, third one down, which was Moonstone. Maybe that right on the inner corner. Yeah? Do I do that jade shade first though? Probably. So let's take a slightly smaller but still quite fluffy brush and let's go into, no, that brush is too big. I want something smaller than that. I want something that's this sort of shape. I think something a bit more sort of flat. And let's go into jade. Pick that up there. And that's pigmented. Okay. So I'm going for pink and mint green. Okay, okay, I was not expecting that to be as pigmented. Okay, just wipe off that brush. Don't panic. Considering that that shade hasn't even gone over like either a white eyeshadow base or like the eyeshadow there, the eyeshadow primer already had eyeshadows on it. So it wasn't even necessarily as tacky. That shade is incredible. So I'm just going to take my finger and I'm going to go into Opalite, because of course I am. And I am just going to put that all over the lid. Yeah. Yeah. Just no other words are needed. Indie brands just get duochromes, multichromes, all of the special shades. So right. I love it. It's incredible. It's incredible. I love it. So I'm just going back over everything with those same brushes. Incredible. That shade is incredible. I will go ahead, clean this up because of my micellar water. So obviously I was applying that shimmer with my finger so it is all underneath here. I'm going to clean it up. I'm going to do the rest of my face and then we can do something under the eye and add that shade right onto the inner corner. I'm excited about this palette. I'm very, very excited about this palette, but rest of the face, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Rest of the face, clean this up, and then we can finish off together. Okie dokie, so I'm just neatening up that jade shade right in the inner part of my crease because obviously I went around there with my concealer, but that is the rest of the face done. So let's go in with that smaller brush into, I think I'm just going to go into Smoky Quartz because it's got a tiny little touch more warmth to it, which is what I prefer under my eyes. So take a small amount of that, run that all the way along. Yeah, I mean I'm doing it now. Running that all the way along the lower lash line. I do very much enjoy that shade, and I am also just sort of rounding that out with the shades that I've already got on the lid, creating a really nice soft round shape out here, blending that out. Then I need to find a suitable brush because I want to put a little bit of white eyeshadow primer right on the inner corner so that that Moonstone shade can really pop on top of it, but I need a very specific brush. So I'm just taking a very small amount of the white Beauty Bay eye primer and I'm just going to tap tiny little bit of that right onto the inner corner. Then I'm going to smooth it out with a small flat brush. Where's my mirror? Quickly tap this out just to sort of make sure that it's laying flat so that there aren't any lumpy areas of primer, like so. Wipe that brush off and I'm going to go into Moonstone, which like I say is this shade here, and I'm going to do this in light layers so that I don't get too much fallout all over my face. I'm going to pick up, how have I managed to get a cat hair on this brush? Pick up some of that Moonstone shade and press it into that eyeshadow primer. Yeah, that shade is incredible as well. I mean, obviously that one was helped on its way with the eyeshadow primer, but you cannot deny that that inner corner is blinding. So I am going to do a wing, I'm going to do mascara, let me have it, and then we are done. And then I'll get my phone torch and we can see this under high light levels, because I always think that, you know, sometimes that really does show the shades quite differently. So liner, mascara, and then we're done. There we go. I love this look. I love this look. This has got everything that I want and need. This is so beautiful to me. So let me get up my torch on my phone so that we can see the shimmers and the shifts. Look at all those tiny little bits of glitter. It's so pretty. That shade is incredible. That shade is absolutely incredible. I love it. So that is the finished look. I would love to hear what you think. Let's zoom out and recap. I think you can already tell what I'm going to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. There we go. Let me just sort my hair out. That is the finished look. I absolutely love it. I absolutely love these tones because although they are slightly more desaturated, although they are a little bit more grey toned, a little bit more cool toned, the pops that you have in this palette are still poppy enough for me. You've got those mid-tones, you've got a great selection of mid-tones, you've got everything that you would need. And that can't be said for every single palette. Despite the fact that this is more cool toned, and that was my reservation about it originally, it is more cool toned, it is more grey. This is, I would say, more neutral. It's not incredibly grey toned, it's not an incredibly grey toned palette, it's a colourful neutral palette, which I find quite exciting actually, because any of these tones anybody can wear, but it's leaning more into the cool tones that I appreciate are more trendy. They're just not where I necessarily feel comfortable, but this still does feel comfortable to me. This feels very exciting, very inspiring, very creative to me. I love how this has turned out. I'm very, very excited to try some more shades in this palette. Specifically, more of these duochrome, multi-chrome shades. Oh, they're incredible. Obviously the quality of Bella Beaute Bar is phenomenal. Yeah, it is more expensive. The palettes are more expensive, but now that they're on Glisten, they are a little bit more affordable. If you spend over a certain amount, you get free shipping anyway. So again, that cuts out like what used to be another like 30, 35, 40 pounds, dollars to get it sent from America as well. It's all in our favour and I'm very, very excited to have this palette. I'm glad that I decided to take the risk on it because, like I say, first thought when I first saw it, I was like, yeah, it's pretty, but it's not for me. And I'm so glad that I decided to take the leap with this one because I'm very, very excited about it. Now that I have seen it, I have swatched it, I have played with it a little bit, I'm feeling all of the creative juices. I'm very excited to try it some more. So if you want to see more looks, if there's anything specifically that you would like to see, any looks that you'd like to see, any colours that you'd like me to use, please let me know down below. I can certainly try and get that done before Christmas, but also there's a lot going on. But if there's anything that you would like to see, feel free to ask and I will try. I will try. But that is everything. I would love to hear what thoughts you have on this palette, if you're going to pick it up or if you're going to skip this one. I will leave it linked down below. But until next time, thank you ever so much for watching. Bye bye.